Hi, this is Jeric from Re3D. In this section we'll be installing a new enclosure for your existing Viki 2.0 LCD. Before we start, make sure you have a copy of the Viki wiring diagram on hand. Unscrew the grommet cap that secures the Viki cables to the electrical box. Use a flathead screwdriver to open the door of the electrical box. Begin unplugging all of the Viki wires. These wires are bundled together, but if you are unfamiliar with which ones they are, consult the wiring diagram. Once you've unplugged all of the Viki wires, feed them through the grommet and out of the electrical box. It will help to feed them one or two at a time until all of the wires are out. Remove the Viki from the Viki holder and place it in a clean work area. Carefully remove the rubber collar from the wire bundle. This goes with the electrical box grommet and should be set aside for now. Similarly, remove the grommet cap and set that aside as well. Use a Phillips head screwdriver to loosen the screws on the right side end plate, nearest to the Viki button. You only need to loosen these rather than removing them completely. On the other end plate, loosen and remove all 4 screws using the Phillips head screwdriver. Also, unscrew the grommet cap and completely remove it from the wire bundle. You can set this aside, but you will not need this part in the end. Work the Viki faceplate loose so that it slides out of the metal enclosure. If it doesn't come loose, you can use the Phillips head screwdriver to further loosen the screws on the right side end plate until the faceplate comes free. Once you've removed the faceplate from the enclosure, remove the left side end plate by pulling the wire bundle through the grommet. Once the plate is removed, you can replace the cap onto the grommet, but again, you will not be needing these parts. Next, you will need to remove the Viki LCD from the metal faceplate. Using a 2mm Allen key and either a 5.5mm wrench or some pliers, remove the M3 hardware fastening the Viki to the plate. Set the screws aside for later. On the GB3 Plus Viki Enclosure, remove the grommet cap on the rear. Feed the Viki wire bundle into the front of the enclosure and through the grommet. Then, feed the wires through the grommet cap from before and very loosely fasten the cap to the grommet. This way you'll still be able to slide the wires through. Orient the Viki LCD such that the button is towards the mounting bracket on the enclosure. Loosely fasten the LCD to the enclosure using only 2 of the M3 screws from the previous enclosure. Remove the old Viki holder using a 3mm Allen key. Remove one of the magic T-nuts from the rail. If the leaf springs are still compressed, you can work them back into an uncompressed state so that they'll hold their position when inserted into the rail again. Insert this magic T-nut into the rightmost slot in the same rail as shown. Reinsert the rubber collar from the electrical box grommet. Feed the Viki wire bundle through the cap for the electrical box grommet, and then proceed to feed the wire bundle through the grommet itself and into the electrical box. Using the wiring diagram, rewire the Viki to the ASTI. A heliostat is very useful for getting each wire properly secured onto the correct pins. Once the Viki is completely wired, tug on the wire bundle to remove the slack inside of the electrical box. Try to close the door to the electrical box and verify that the wires don't interfere with the door lock mechanism. Fully tighten the grommet cap to hold the Viki wire bundle in place, and then close the electrical box, locking it with a flathead screwdriver. Remove the two M3 buttonhead cap screws from the Viki LCD to get access to the interior screw holes. Insert an M5x12mm buttonhead cap screw through this interior hole and loosely fasten it to the magic T-nut on the side of the rail using the 3mm Allen key. Slide the enclosure until the other hole aligns with the remaining T-nut, and loosely fasten this with another M5x12mm buttonhead cap screw and 3mm Allen key. Slide the enclosure up and down to the desired height and fully fasten both M5x12mm buttonhead cap screws to secure it in place. Remount the Viki LCD and use all four M3 buttonhead cap screws and a 2mm Allen key to fully fasten it to the enclosure. On the rear of the enclosure, fully tighten the grommet cap. That's it! You've replaced your Viki enclosure and are now ready to move on.